All right. Good morning, everyone. It's always good to have you all here with us for another Sunday, for another lecture. Today we're going to be talking about the Perispirit. And but as always, before we start our lecture, we are going to be having our initial reading and our initial prayer. Patrick. Cata, você escolheu alguma coisa ou não?
Desculpa?
Você
Não.
escolheu? Ah, beleza.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, we will read from the book Happy Life, written by Givaldo and brought to us by Joana de Angelis. Be open to new ideas. Discuss them. Compare them with what you know and think. Get the most benefit possible out of information that is new to you. Handly ideas renew the emotions and supply the feelings with stimuli and enthusiasm. Nobody is so wise that they do not need to learn more, or, or so complete that they can dispense with other contributions to their inner growth. Learn more and be receptive to new contributions. So let's now close our eyes, elevate our thoughts to our Master Jesus, to God, and thank the opportunity to be here another week for these teachings and ask our mentors to involve Kata that will bring us the lecture today. Thank you, and so be it.
Thank you, Patrick. Good morning, everyone. It's just want to open my computer here. It's funny how we're all connected. It was a perfect message for us because the theme of today is a little bit from the technical side, and especially for people that are new, it can be a little bit hard to grasp. But as the message said, be open to new ideas, open to learning new concepts. And that's exactly what we're going to try to do here today. It's a theme that I love this part of Spiritism, the technical, the learning how things really work. Because if you go just for the moral and you go, it's very important to learn what we should be doing. But to me, and the reason why I'm a Spiritist today, and I believe in reincarnation, it's thankful to Spiritism because it brings things like we're going to see today that gives us, common sense to all the moral parts of life that we have to study. And, that's my husband's computer. I'm glad I remember the password. So, Perispirit. And again, I love this theme, and I love the fact that I can work with this theme on Thursdays here. And I'm going to leave a little marketing for our study group on mediumship. And we're going to see how perispirit is so important for the so-called supernatural phenomena that we see. But before we go on, let's give a little bit of it's okay. So let's start talking about the elements of the universe. Before anything, and forever, and it.
Sorry.
Nope.
You're good.
There has been God, and from what we learn, we have something that's called the universal Trinity. Everything that exists comes from these two elements only. One side we have the intelligence principle, and from the other side we have the material element, or and the spiritual thing. The spiritual side is where our spirits come from. It's nothing that can be tangible or cannot act by itself. Let's say it's the matter part, and everything else is the matter. When we talk about the spirit element, and here I'm talking about, that's my pointer? No. Okay. And here I'm talking about spirit element. It's like, let's imagine like a source of spirit element. I'm not talking about the individualized spirit. This source is what's going to provide us, the individual spirit. So bear with me on a concept. We can't yet know that whatever I put here, it's basically from Kardec's. I didn't put quotes on everything, but it's not me coming to conclusions, just so you know, from now on. We can't yet know how, but the intelligence principle at some point becomes individualized in each human being. So as I say, we have a spiritual source, and that's what the spirit, us, our minds, our intelligence, our mind, the thoughts, that's where it comes from. At some point, and we're not mature enough to understand where, but keep that concept in mind. And these spirit elements has attributes like intelligence and thought. I'll point and you help me. And then we have the element of matter. So the second element, as I said here, it's where everything else other than spirits come from. And I mean everything. And I put that image of the water because it's like a little analogy to what this material element, the second bucket of product that helps us create what we see, comes from. This basket of source, the material basket, the matter in it exists in like states that can be very unfamiliar to us to think about it as the name matter, because we're used to matter as something tangible. But that picture has to be in your mind today when we talk about matter. So forget about tangible information. The water for us is matter, no matter what is in a gas state, in the liquid state, or in the solid state. So that's the second basket. The second basket can transform in infinite substances, in infinite fluidic, solid, gas. It's still matter. When we talk about, for example, electricity, it's matter. Again, if it's not spirit, if it doesn't have intelligence, it comes from the material basket that we have, the second source that God used to produce everything we have today. So it can be, it's infinite. The formations can be infinite for us. Everybody there so far? A little bit about matter. We have something that's called the universal cosmic fluid. And maybe I'm going to start using that term instead of matter, because this fluid is the primitive element. Everything comes from this source. So this basket that we have here, when God decided to create everything, it was filled with cosmic fluid. That's it. That's all it had. And the funny thing is, the same way that this cosmic fluid could be transformed in everything that we see around in this room, for example, how can it be coming from just one simple element? Again, we don't even need to be open to new ideas for that, because science has proved that everything comes from hydrogen. Everything. So when stars explode, the reaction makes hydrogen transforms into gold, into silver. So chemical reactions to nitrogen produces everything that we have today. And the same happens from the fluid, the cosmic fluid. So this basket only has cosmic fluid, and from there we're gonna have everything else that doesn't have, as we said, the spirit intelligent. Some modification and transformation comprise the innumerable variety of bodies found in nature. And the individualized material element constitutes the different organic and inorganic bodies of nature, including ourselves. So these that we see today, not what I'm thinking now, but we come from the material basket. Okay, so our bodies come from there. And a little bit about the universal cosmic fluid. One of the questions in the Spiritist book: is there an absolute void in any part of the universal space? It's something we were studying actually this week. It was one of the questions we had. They were talking about black matter, and there's no vacuum. There's no lack of anything. There's always, in the bottom line, there's no void. There's always the fluidic, cosmic fluid. What appears to you to be a void is actually occupied by matter that cannot be detected by your senses or instruments. So, blink your eyes for a second. Imagine the whole universe. There's no void. We're swimming in this fluid around here. It's like the air. There's always something that we can perceive through our senses yet. And this cosmic fluid is there to be transformed, to be used at some point. Kel, thank you. So just a recap, back to our graphic, we have God, who used the basket of intelligence principle that we don't have a lot of information from it yet. He got the basket from the cosmic fluid, and through transformation of this cosmic fluid, he produced our bodies and everything else. And from the basket that comes from the intelligent principle, at some point, he individualized a little bit of that, separate it, and create each one of us. When we talk about the evolution, I like to mention that we have the theory of evolution, the Darwin's theory. We evolve from the little amoeba all the way to what we have as a human being. But there is this gap that science can't explain yet, which is the gap between the last most evolved animal, from the apes, to the human. And between this gap is when the spirit becomes individualized. And we're like children in the evolution of the souls. So it's like my kids in there. They have no idea about what we know about the planet, right? So we are these little children yet. We have no idea about what's completely out there. Even for the spirits that helped Kardec to put all this information for us, they're way more mature and evolved than us. And they're still, some senses they're like, even for us, we're still learning we're still trying to understand. So we are those children in there right now. And this gap that science can prove is the gap that we mentioned in the beginning, that we don't have all the information yet about how it became individualized. But we did, and we have to go from this idea forward. We have lots of proofs that this is how it actually, we can think. That's why I like spiritism. I know there's an answer I can get. We have to be a little humble enough to understand that we're not the best of the best. We are way, way behind, right? Um, so everybody on the same page? Okay, so I have bonus questions today. Okay, you do well, and your mentor will give you a nice prize later. That's one of the questions actually. Do spirits have a specific, limited, and constant form? So, talking about that little piece that came from the spiritual basket, like our minds, does it have a form? What do you think? To our eyes, yes. To yours, to our eyes, sorry, to your eyes, no. To ours, yes. You might say they resemble a flame, a glow, or an ethereal spark. That's why in the slide, I put that little flame. It's hard to even grasp, but if you were to see, we have an individualized little thing that for the spirits evolved who can see it. So that's the shape it has, which is that. Um, this principle, the intelligence principle, has when individualized, it has the need of the body to develop itself through labor. And what does that mean? The whole point of reincarnation, when God created us simple and ignorant, the first portion of us, the little, maybe the little fetus, that's it. This is the fetus of us, right? So you're looking at your how do you call ultrasound? So that's you in an ultrasound. You know nothing. You were just created. Let's think about the first days of you after being born. Let's say you're born. We're all equal. So in this spiritual hospital, when the spirit was born, we all have. It's like children. They don't have pride and prejudice. They don't have hate. We're gonna be formed from now on. And how? No, the school that you send, daycare that you send kids to, that we went to when we were kids, the school is the physical body, because the spirit cannot do anything by itself. The spirit, God said, how I'm going to make this guy evolve? What kind of learning? How classrooms? How can I teach this spirit to evolve? Well, the only way he found was through giving a physical body. Because the physical body is where the spirit can actually act, do things with all the second basket of material things. So we have the inert basket here, matter. Fluid, the cosmic fluid is super cool. I want to do a presentation next on fluids. It's like so much fun to learn. But it's there, right? Inert. It has no power whatsoever by itself. The spirit is the one who manipulates everything and creates things and acts on it, with it. But the spirit is too flammable to work on matter. The spirit by itself, even though we say that spirits can lift table, it's not the spirit, and that's what we're going to learn today. So the spirit cannot lift a table. because it needs an intermediary. It needs a little something that he can connect, very ethereal, very subtle, that he can actually, with the thought, give some impulse so things can happen. And that intermediary is what's so called the perispirit. Oh, another bonus question. No, that's not. Oh, sorry. This thing. Sorry. No bonus questions yet. So that's the magical perispirit. As Kardec put it down, one of the most important products of the basket from the cosmic fluid. Should I put that as a question? So the perispirit is very fluid, right? You can put your hand through it, but it comes from the basket. The perispirit doesn't think. The perispirit is an intermediary, a fluidic envelope between the spirit and the body. So from this basket of matter, God, with his will, transformed a little piece of it and connected to our spirit. Now the spirit can talk the same language because it's this body can be very, very subtle, ethereal. And from there, the wonders happen. So now the inert piece of information can actually do something because the mind will actually play together thanks to the perispirit. And just recapping. So this is us. We have the flame, the intelligent principle, in which the moral sense resides. So this is us in a nutshell. And then we have the perispirit, which is this material fluidic envelope that the spirit will use temporarily, right? From incarnation to incarnation. So it can do things through the perispirit. So I think I call the body fluidic. No, the body is the material and dense. And then we have the perispirit, the fluidic semi-material envelope, the link between the soul and the body. So when you see yourself in the mirror now, try to see the rest of it. Because we're just not just that. And now at least you know where you come from, how you know, how you were formed. In our intelligence, as we said, it's in the spirit, right? I think that's covered. What's the origin of the perispirit? Where does it come from? Well, we know it comes from the basket, right? The inert basket. It comes from there. But each planet has its own global fluid. Like Earth has a special fluid that formed Earth. So everything that's on Earth, the fluid, the cosmic around Earth it's a little more dense. We're not an evolved planet, right? So we have our own gases and fluids here that science can talk about. Well, we also have fluids and when I say fluid is matter, fluids that are around the planet Earth, that are similar to Earth. So when that spirit comes to planet Earth, the perispirit will grab material from the planet to make its own spiritual body or perispirit. The, the book explains, and we're going to talk about how everybody is different, morally speaking, right? We still have, even though we're in this proof and expiation planet, which is not evolved, but we have some more involved than the others, right? We have some beautiful souls that come to this planet, and others still learning its way, unfortunately, doing bad decisions. But everybody, when they have a perispirit, it's like, let's say there is a very evolved soul that's going to incarnate next week, and there is me who's going to incarnate together next week. When this evolved soul comes here, we have all kinds of things going on. The spirit, that flame, is going to through it's like we attract what we are, right? So the evolved spirit will attract fluidic cosmic from the planet and build a perispirit much lighter than when I incarnate, because I'm still like hanging in there. So the perispirits all come from the energy, from the fluids around the planet, but it can be a little lighter than the other one due to the more of, development that we have. They say that a Jupiter is a very evolved planet. So our perispirit, I think it would disintegrate. It would not. It will not work there because it doesn't vibrate. We can't. When we go to bed, have our spirits going there with the perispirit that I have. It's like when you go to swimming, scuba diving, you can't breathe in there. So our perispirit cannot breathe in Jupiter because we're too heavy for that. So every globe comes with different materials around it, and the perispirit has to adjust to it. It's like, in Canada, we need jackets on winter, right? Otherwise, we freeze. So the perispirit is the same. It's the same analogy. That's why the perispirit is not the same on all worlds. It is, more or less ethereal depending on the planet it comes from or the level of evolution. So again, there might be a lot happening in Jupiter. It's one of the most evolved. We don't see anything. And because NASA says there's no water in Jupiter, we say there's no life. It's not quite like that. Again, back to the message Patrick read, we have to be open to different stuff because we don't know everything. And that's one of the concepts that's very important to keep in mind. There is life everywhere. We just can't see. So many things we couldn't see, and then we have to wait for science to prove so we believe in it, right? So let's open our minds. So that's the origin of the perispirit. And I have another bonus question. So we know where we get the perispirit. How about, do we lose it? That's my question. It was not from the book. But the answer is
No.
no? Yes? So, so what do you think happens? Yes and no. While we are on Earth, we don't lose it. It comes with us. But when I go to Jupiter, what's going to happen?
Adjust.
Huh?
Going to adjust.
Adjust?
Yes.
No.
As you told, you're going to change the energy signature. So you're going from one globe to going to another. Your perispirit is going to flip the energy to adjust to the other place. So you're not going to lose your perispirit. It's going to reform to adjust to that environment.
Okay.
That signature.
Who else thinks differently?
I think a different way to see this question might be instead of lose a perispirit, are we gonna always have a perispirit? And
Mm-hmm.
the answer is yes.
Yes. Yes. Let's check the answer. That's not from me. When the spirits immigrates from the earth, it also leaves behind its fluidic envelope. It puts on another that is suited to the world where it's going. I know. Oh, I didn't know it was like that. Again, if I go to my hometown, Recife, in Brazil, right now, I'm gonna leave my jackets here. And I'm gonna put my swimming suit and go to the beach. It's kind of like that. Because it doesn't make sense. The material that I have, it's too much for Brazil. Again, let's open our minds. It was a brilliant message, Patrick. Thank you so much. I'm glad you didn't choose. Let's open our minds to new concepts. But yes, here we don't lose our perispirit. It's going to come and go with us throughout. Just think it's. Um, does the perispirit semi-mature envelope have a specific form? Can it be seen? Yes. A form according to the spirit's desire. And that's how it sometimes appears to you in dreams or in the walking state, and how it may take on a visible or even tangible form. The very important concept from this slide, the perispirit is molded according to the will of the spirit. And that's why talking about fluids could be another presentation. The reason for that, the name says, the perispirit is fluidic. And again, the perispirit came from the basket that doesn't move. What makes it move is the other basket material. The thought makes it transform. So when we have a dream, when we discarnate, we're going to keep our perispirit. But have you heard that they say, oh, I saw my mom or my uncle in a dream. It looked so young. Yeah, because that's how they want to look, of course, skinny and young. But it's how you feel, actually. Yeah? We age. We don't want to feel old. We can't feel old. It's hard to, right? The brain and the body, it's like a shock when we age. I wake up with pain. Like my brain, I don't have pain in my mind. So when we discarnate, our mind, now without the physical body, which is like a chain to us, is going to get our perispirit and it's going to be able to maneuver, to change it, to adapt it. And depending on who I want to talk to in my sleep, I am going to have to show myself the way the person remembers me, even though I have many, many faces. So the perispirit, why keep only the last one if we had so many other important lives too? So in a way, you're gonna be following your thoughts, the perispirit. But it's usually, of course, the human form. That's one curiosity here. I didn't get much information, but I know everybody loves little animals. So I thought I should talk about perispirits in animals. Just a little bracket. Don't quote me too much on that, because the only information I saw was that the perispirit is human form. And by the way, all over the universe, everybody has somehow a human form. So these animals we see in sci-fi movies doesn't exist. It is should look like kind of like us, maybe taller or not, but two arms, two legs, one head, kind of thing. And that's not me saying, again, from the Spiritist book. So the perispirit has the human form. When we evolve, And when the spirit gets a perispirit, this perispirit is something very evolved. They say that the animals have a fluidic envelope, but it doesn't call perispirit. Because the perispirit is made for the kind of intelligence that happened between the last animal and the human. There is, infusion of intelligence that came from where? I know we all think that the animals are so smart. I talk to my fish. There you go. And he talks to me. So my little beta. But it is different. So the perispirit, human form, and it can be transformed by the will um, in our minds. No, sorry, this thing. It's so not intuitive. Okay, so we talked about density. So the inner composition of the perispirit is not identical among all incarnate or discarnate spirits on earth. Sometimes the perispirit is so dense that they confuse it with their corporeal body, and who, for that reason, believe they're still among the living. If you are ever part, or if you ever talk to anyone in a mediumistic group, the key point of this spiritual center is the mediumistic group, because it's where the communication happens, where spirits that need help come here to talk through us and get help. And a lot of them, they don't know they discarnate. They think they're still alive. They're so attached to the material things, side of things, and they're so not evolved. They're so dense that they can actually feel their body and they don't believe they passed away. So it's one of the communications that you get a lot in the mediumistic meetings. Um, if you watch that picture is from Nosso Lar. If you remember Nosso Lar, they have buses, right? They have a way of transportation, because some spirits they feel so dense, they're so heavy that they need to walk. But some others, the evolved spirits, can transport themselves, and they can volitate. They don't need to walk, right? But some still need buses to get through. Okay. Um, so a little touch on fluids, just because they are the ones who animate matter. The thought doesn't do anything by itself. What the thought does is manipulate those fluids. And those fluids are so potent that they are able to, it's like an elevator. You press the button, you don't push the elevator to the next floor, right? Electricity would do that. So the wheel is like the button. It says go, and then the fluids do wonders. Spirits act upon the spiritual fluids, but they do not manipulate like humans manipulate gases. Instead, they use the help of thought and will. So fluids are the vehicle for thought. Thought and will are for spirit what hands are to humans. Maybe it's a little too much, but I leave a little seed here for the ones who are not used to too much of that information. Is that too confusing so far? A little bit. Sorry, you can watch again the video. um, anyways, so fluids. I'm just gonna leave with that, but there is like a lot of cool information on that. And another bonus questions. I forgot to put the thing. How can we get a lighter version of a perispirit? Don't look at the answer.
Too late now.
Right? Evolving morally. That's the only way. If you want to lose some weight, become a better person. Bottom line. Right?
To go to the gym? Great.
Yeah, it's much easier. You can do it while you sleep, literally. As we said, the moral side of it helps transform the perispirit. I don't want to take too long. I still have a couple of slides here. So the perispirit is the bridge. Okay? Everything that the spirit tries to activate, think, emanates, the perispirit will get that information. It's like sending an email, boom, sends it to the body. The thought releases chemicals, and every cell is eavesdropping all the time. So our body is inert, remember? Our body does nothing without the mind and the fluids. So the perispirit is the one who makes the connection. Guys, very hang in there. We're almost done. Another bonus question. That can be very debatable among spiritists itself about the organs in the perispirit. But what I want to leave today about the organs in the perispirit is that the perispirit itself is the sensory organ. It's like it's one thing. And that's stuff that we study in our study groups here. When through the body's organ, the perispirit, sight, hearing, and the various other sensations are localized and limited to the perception of the physical things. Through the spiritual sense, they are generalized. That is, the spirit sees, hears, and feels it entirely, being everything that is within the sphere of its perispiritual fluidic radiation. So, and that's what brings me to my last slide. Everything that we see in mediumship, all the communication, again, the body knows nothing, right? The body is this. How can a body see spirits? The body doesn't see anything because the body is like this wall here. What sees spirits? It's the guy from the other basket. And it feels it through the perispirit. So the perispirit is the magic, sees everything. When a medium sees, he can close his eyes. He's going to continue seeing a spirit. That's the proof. So the perispirit is the one who sees it, not just the physical body. And I'm going to stop here. So the perispirit is the spiritual element. It's the one who connects with the other side. And that's why it's so important for mediumship, because the mediums have their perispirit more freer than ours, the other people, someone that's not medium. So mediums, their perispirit, they go out there. And I could talk another 3 hours about perispirit and all the properties it has and everything that produces the mediumistic phenomena that we know about. But for today, let's just keep in mind that the perispirit is the one that connects to the other side. Only the perispirit can do that, not my physical body. So when you hear someone, a spirit, discarnated, when you get a message, the mediums are getting through their perispirit. And this perispirit keeps on sending message to the spirit all the time in the body. We can talk about disease. We can talk about how the physical body reacts. Like it's in the subject can be very, long. Sorry, no bonus questions. So that's talking about the mediumship, what I just said. And Kel? To close up today and take questions, the goal today is to work on our self improvement. Because we are here with this body and we're gifted with our fairy spirit. The only reason for it is to evolve morally. It's through the evolution that we're going to, more evolution, we're going to be able to go to the next planet to evolve. And no, we're given the physical body and the spiritual body so we can do that. Questions? And it can be a lot for some, but I didn't choose a theme, but I loved it. This is this stuff I keep on learning when we study here on Thursdays. We have our beautiful group that participates here. Some have graduated and have been working on the mediumistic meetings now. But I think it's important for us to study that. For me, at least, I like it. And if it's something you want to learn more, it was very compact. We learned a lot of that, in installments. But that's the big picture of what happens in the background. And as I do in our studies, do you have any questions? There's no silly question. Like, how was this presentation? I'm curious about that too for people that it can be a little hard, I know. But I think at least some answers you got, or I hope so.
Yeah, I think was very dense for some people. But I think summarize a lot of good things. Um, and I think if it's like everybody can leave from here, taking a little bit of what you said, is to understand that God creates two baskets, as you said, matters and intelligence. And we do have the body that comes from the matter. I think that slide was great, right? And then, I'm sorry, the spirit itself that it's under the intelligence basket needs intermediary that is something in the middle made of matter to act. And this, if you evolve morally, you're going to be lighter and lighter and lighter. And the energy that comes with all that gets connected or gets adapted. I don't want to go too much on this as well. It's just, otherwise, it won't help anybody.
No, it's good. It's a good summary.
It's just the level, and I'm sorry, let's just go back. The level of moral aspect gonna help you to refine your or demand less matter for you, and that's when the Perispirit is gonna be lighter, right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful summary.
Yeah.
Everybody,
It's just I know some people here are just starting in the
I know.
in carcasses, man, can be very dense.
Yes, and you know what? I knew that when I put this together. But while I was doing it, well, first of all, the person who chooses the themes randomly put my name to it. And I was like,
the right person.
I was like, do you think he chose that? No, because we're just studying that every Thursday here. There's no coincidence. When I was doing the presentation, it was very like, I knew I got goosebumps even now. Like one point I finished prepping after a couple of hours working on it, and I was like, I made a gratitude moment prayer. It was beautiful. My eyes watered. So I come here, I'm so glad. The message says, be open. Again, I wanted to do that. We keep on coming here, but I think it's very important to. So it was like in your face, but keep your mind open. Maybe it was too much, but that's what happens. It's happening.
Yeah, thank you, Kata. I already did the course,
Uh huh.
but I find it very complex to understand. I know it is beautiful, explained, but a lot of things in my mind that I have to grasp. But I think like the Perispirit, it is like the black box in the airplane that keep everything there, right? And I
Yes.
think all the time when we disincarnate and we come back to learn more, to evolve, then we start to go more Perispirit, start to be lighter. And then is my question is when we all will become um, evolved spirits sometime. That's
Yeah.
what I learned that one day.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Evolve somehow good. And then this then we our spirit or is going to a more evolved planet and that can be Jupiter.
Uh huh. Yeah.
That's my question.
You mean you're going to lose everything? Is that your question?
No, if we will go
Yes. That's
to
or
another planet that is more.
that's one option. But our planet is also evolving. So Earth one day will be like Jupiter, believe it or not. We're evolving. So yes, or we can continue here, or we can go to another one. Or if you don't behave well, we can go to a lower one. But it's a possibility, yes. Any more comments?
Question online. Yeah, so Elias asked, you mentioned that we can evolve and make our perispirit lighter. Can we also carry weights or damages from other lives?
Yes, 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 yes. Yes. As you said, when we in the same we evolution is carrying something from other lives. Everything we learn, we bring from this life, we're going to carry to the other life. We're evolving. So we are carrying everything that we learned today to another life. But we can also, if things we haven't worked out yet, or if we, let's say, we do a lot of drugs, we have a little matrix, right, in the perispirit. It's like a little system. The spirit is feeding it, and the body is feeding this matrix. We discarnate, our perispirit is going to be different. And this matrix is going to carry on into the next life. So whatever we did to ourselves, it's there. The guilt, the conscious, our conscious continues. So yes, we carry goods and bad things. We carry who we are. Bottom line, if we have problems in one side, we're going to carry that. It's going to be in our matrix. If we evolved, our matrix is much better. A plus, A plus, A plus. Right? Anything else? Say, oh, don't be shy. I'm like, if I have the answer, I'm like, ask question. This is not easy. If I don't have the answer, I'm going to excuse myself and say, okay, next time.
Um, and what happened with some people that when is sleeping, then the perispirits like go somewhere?
Uh-huh.
What happened with this perispirit?
Yes, that's a good question. Again, the body is there. We are spirit and perispirit. When we sleep, and that's something we talk a lot in the course too, we're free. It's like we're a little dead for the moment, right? We have only a little connection, like they say we have a silver cable. In the movie, we can see that. When the spirits go, if you watch Nosso Lar 2, Astral City, um, When we go to sleep, we can go places. We can see family members through their perispirit. We can do courses online. I remember I shared that when I was pregnant with my first child. I was like with a lot of mummies and kids in my dream. I was like, I'm learning. It's like I'm learning how, practicing. So that's what happens. So when we're sleeping, we're free from these. Our senses are beyond limits. And that's the cool stuff we study in a group. No, what happens when you're sleeping? What happens when you discarnate? We continue. We're going to meet family members. During sleep is the only way we can meet them, the loved ones that we lost. We see them in dreams. We just don't remember. Sometimes we wake up with that little feeling, or you can learn something, or you can go partying, or you can do bad stuff, or you can find someone, nightmares. You met someone you had problems with. So when we sleep, we go back to the real life and we see each other. Make sense? That's a summarized answer to it. But basically, you go somewhere.
Yeah, I think one way to see is like while our body rests, our spirit is free to go, but our perispirit is always close to our spirit. It involves our spirit.
Yes.
Creates the unit
Yes.
of our spirit, right? Materially. And the spirit can go elsewhere, and the body gonna be sleeping.
Yes. That's a good point. The spirit and the perispirit, it's a tie, right? The body can be left behind, but the spirit and the perispirit,
Are they close?
they're close. They're like, yes. I can say they're close. Yes. Sorry? Yes. The description is the matter is the tie to the spirit. It ties it up. Conception happens, perispirit gets a link to it. And the spirit is with it. We die, the perispirit and the spirit stay together. I think we're getting to time. Anybody, last question?
Is that the perispirit is that infinite?
Infinite, yeah. With the perispirit, we're always gonna have it. Even though in the most elevated, gonna have something very subtle.
Always the same. I mean, I'm Jessica right now because my voice is called Jessica. But
Yes.
my perispirit and my spirit is gonna be the same forever. I mean, not the same because you're.
While you reincarnate,
Yeah.
you're gonna have your perispirit. It's like when you sleep, your perispirit goes somewhere. When the people say, "Oh, I saw a ghost or saw a spirit," you see the perispirit. So when you discarnate, your perispirit leaves. Let's say you don't lose it,
And then I come back.
and you come back. The perispirit is going to be connected again to the future Jessica, and will continue learning because the spirit needs it. Like you're the spirit, so you don't lose your perispirit. Not in this planet. It keeps coming and going, sleeping and coming. If you have more questions, I'm free to talk to you. Join us on the next group that comes. We talk about stuff like that. We don't see spirits. We don't talk much to them. We just learn about them. Thank you. Aí eu posso sentar. Sorry, thanks.
All right. Thank you, everyone who was with us over the internet. I will hope to see you here next week.